To set up within Signagelive which media is actually logged as part of impression logging, there's a hierarchy of how we decide whether it's logged or not. The highest level of that hierarchy is the media asset, and that's the actual instance that was uploaded into the asset library. To decide whether that asset is included in proof of play or not, we can do that just from going to the properties. So if we double click on one of the assets, see we've got a proof of play logging section here showing we can decide whether we include it in proof of play. If we want to, we can also add some references, a campaign ID, something that references and makes this piece of media filterable almost in the output reports. If we choose to include in proof of play at this level, then that means everywhere that piece of media is played, it will be logged as long as the player is set to be included in proof of play. So to carry on the hierarchy, we can open up a playlist. And we can set against each individual instance of a media asset within that timeline. So this is known as a playlist media asset. The same information. So if we right click on one of these and go to the properties, so you've got a proof of play logging section here. And again, it's exactly the same control. We tick whether we want to include it in proof of play or not, and we can add some references, those campaign IDs. The references that are added in these boxes don't have to be single word, they can be multi-word. Again, if I'm setting include in proof of play on the playlist media asset, that means that if this playlist is played on a player and this particular instance of this asset is played, then we would log an impression. It's possible that way to then set, so not every asset in that playlist is set to be included, and therefore you would only get impression logging for the instances, the media assets that were set to be included. The other three different sections we can set up whether items are included in proof of play or not are the playlist, and we can do that from going to the playlist manager. And we can also set on a layout and the zones in that layout. So again, if we go to one of these playlists, just right click and go to the properties section. That opens up the properties for the playlist. And again, we've got that exact same proof of play control here. So we can choose whether to include it and references that will be included if it is logged. So if we set it on the playlist, that means every asset that's played in that playlist will be included in proof of play, so would log an impression. Again, we can go to layouts. If we right click on one of the layouts, go to properties, we can see again we've got exactly that same control. So if we set it up on a layout, then that means any media that's played within this layout would log an impression. If we go back to the library and just open up that layout, we can see the different zones that are on the layout. If we choose on the zones, we can see there's a new tab here in the ribbon, proof of play login, and again it's exactly the same control, including proof of play, and add some references. What happens here, if this is ticked, then any media that's played within this zone would create an impression.